If you want instant access to new videos as they're uploaded, then please click on the subscribe button. Also, don't forget to comment on the videos, and if you're interested in learning more about BetAngel, visit betangel.com today and download a free trial.
So if you're interested in trading tennis, tennis is a sport that has an enormous amount of statistics attached to it. And the great thing is you can go on to the WTA or ATP websites. We're on the WTA one, the women's tennis. And they have enormous amounts of stats available for you. So you can see here scores and stats and lots of information that relates to each of the players. On this tab here, I've actually got the match stats. And the interesting thing about the match stats is you can tell a little bit about how a player plays and how they're likely to behave from those stats. Now, you can't do that exclusively, and it's not going to be the same in every match, but it does give you an indication. So if you look at the number of aces, you can see Serena Williams is the world leader. She's had 446 aces in 47 matches, so that's going at some. You can see Pliskova, who's seeded, or ranked rather, number 8 in the world, has had 400 aces in 58 matches. So if we do 400 divided by 58, she's averaging about 6.9 aces per match. So you can see that they're both strong servers, and you can see they've ranked them from top to bottom. The only thing is because they haven't divided aces into matches, you know, you're going to have to do a bit of work there, because if we look here, you can see that we've got Garcia here with 184 aces in 42 matches, so 184 divided by 42 is about 4 per match, and we've got Sam Stosur above her, who's doing about 4.7 per match. So you need to read into those stats a little bit. But nonetheless, you can see that Serena Williams obviously has a good serve, based upon 47 matches and 446 aces. But if you look at how accurate the serve is as well, you can see Sara Errani gets 82.4% of her first serves in. And you can see that that declines from there. And you can immediately tell that Serena Williams isn't in this list, or in the top 10. So she obviously belts it, and that's why she's got loads of aces, but her serve is less accurate. So her first serve is not as accurate as other people's. And that's not necessarily a good thing, because, okay, Errani has an 82.4% chance of getting that first serve in, but how many points does she win on that first serve? So let's look down this list. She's not in it, you see. So tactically speaking, she's very accurate, but doesn't get the power on it, whereas you can see Serena Williams wins 75.4% of her first serves, and that's because she absolutely belts it and may often get an ace. But you can see overall first and second serve, because of course if you fail to get the first serve in, then you get a chance to get your second serve in. So people over here are people who are serving quite fast, quite accurately rather, on their second serve. So, you know, people who are in this list and that list would be quite interesting to look at. But also, you know, having a second serve, you'd probably slow it down a fair bit. So maybe people at the top of the list are too slow, and therefore you have to look at the points won on first and second service. So if we look at Serena Williams, you can see she gets loads of first serve points won, and that's obviously because she's really hitting it hard and getting aces. But you can see that she doesn't appear in the list for second service points, whereas you can see Sam Stosur does tend to do a better job of getting the second service points won. But this gives you an idea as to how a player will play. But also you can see the same thing overall. Gives you an overall percentage for how the player will serve out an individual point. It's not a coincidence really that you can see the service points won more or less falls into their world ranking. So, you know, top 10 players tend to win a lot of points on serve, and that's because the serve is so important in tennis. But also you have to combine it with the number of return points won as well. So a big server can win a lot of points, and that is obviously critical, but a good returner can obviously fend off a good server. So when you're looking at tennis, it's a combination of the ability to serve and win a point and the ability to return those serves. So these are probably the two key stats, but this will describe how you arrived at these two key stats in here as well. From these key stats, you can actually derive what actually occurs over the course of a game. So in fact, I would say, obviously knowing how this is constructed, I would say that these ones here are irrelevant because the data is contained in the ones above it. We'll explain more when we talk about Tennis Trader. But you can also see down here breakpoints saved, breakpoints converted, and so on and so forth. So this gives you a deeper look into how a player is playing. And you can see here Serena Williams is very good at saving breakpoints, which is why she's world #1. So yeah, those stats are available for women and tens matches, women's and men's matches, and they're very useful to have a look at and get an idea. And there are loads of sites that spin off of all these stats. So when you're looking at tennis, it's always a good way to get a feel for what the player plays like in front of you. They tend to summarize them on this page and just do the top 10, but there are loads of sites where you can get more detailed stats, which will give you more of an insight into how a player is likely to play. And you can see on here there are loads of other stats that they sort of tend to throw at you as well. One of the things that's important in tennis is surface, and you can't actually see those stats on here. So if you broke these down by surface, you would get the characteristics of each individual player out of there as well. But one of the things that is beneficial in tennis is there are lots of stats available, and it's worth looking at them to get an idea of how a player is likely to play.
If you're interested in learning more about BetAngel, visit betangel.com and download a free trial today.